Sanju. I don't know what I'm going to teach today. I don't know yet. We're going to talk about things. It's cold today. It's snowing right now, and it's -2. It was -4 when I woke up this morning. And if you'll please forgive me, I need to eat something. My stomach is really too empty this morning, and I didn't have time to eat breakfast. So I'm quickly going to eat some food. Please forgive me for eating in front of you. But and all I had was a piece of really yummy pizza, so I'm going to quickly eat a piece of pizza, and then we'll do our stream, okay? Thank you, lucky girl. Hello, Bazlul. This is Chicago deep dish pizza. It's not like normal pizza. It's more like a pie. Hello, Jessire and Lauro. I don't really have a topic yet today, except for concepts. Concepts is the topic for today. Please forgive me, I'll be finished eating in just a minute. Last bite. Some ASMR for you. All right, I'm finished. I just needed something in my stomach this morning. I didn't have time to eat earlier because I was teaching. Okay, so here we are. It's too bright behind me. Let me change the lights. Hold on. Almost better. There we go. That's better, yeah. Okay, much better. All right, so, why am I here? I don't know why I'm here. Why am I here? Why are we all here? What is the point? Right? So here's what I would like to do. If you are new, then you should probably just listen mostly. Okay, I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but if you're new, you should listen mostly. If you're not new, impress me with your questions. Impress me with your questions. What does that mean? I mean, don't just ask me anything. Okay? If you ask me, how can I be good at English? I'm not impressed by that question. It's not an impressive question. I want a question that impresses me. Okay? So that's the rule for today. So if I am not impressed by your question, then I will tell you I'm not impressed. Okay? One moment. Oh, yeah. All right. So, I'm here. I'm still waiting. There's no questions yet. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 da 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 dum. That's the waiting music. I am waiting. There we go. Hello, Larry. Hello, Robert. Robert says many arrows didn't hit the target. The target wasn't hit by many arrows. Do they mean the same? Yes, they mean the same thing, but they're talking about it in two different ways, right? So one is talking about the arrows, and the other is talking about the target. But essentially, they're talking about the same thing in two different ways. Okay? What's the difference between taking medication and taking medicine? Nothing. 就是一样的意思，差不多。Okay? Medication 就是 medicine. 我感觉如果你说 medication 就是 countable， 我感觉那个就是可数的 okay? So medicine is not countable, medication is. Okay? That's the only difference, but other than that, nothing. Okay? Yes, 我是鼓手. Would I like to teach you how to pronounce the word thoroughly? Sure. Thur, like Thursday. The word Thursday and thoroughly, they start with the same sound. Thur, then row, thorough. So that's also a word, thorough. Then you add the ly, which is the adjective, right? So you have the thor, which sounds just like thur, Thursday, thoroughly. Okay? Thoroughly. There you go. Okay? And drum is drum. Did I buy my Christmas tree? Not yet? No. Why can you understand a person face to face, but you can't understand them over the phone? Fairuza, that depends on the person. Some people speak more clearly, so maybe it's not about in person and on the phone. Maybe it's just that some people speak more clearly and some people don't. But there's another thing. When you can see someone face to face, you can see their mouth, and that helps you to understand what they are trying to say. If you can't see their mouth, then you really have to listen. Right? Okay, and then another reason is because when you're on the phone or on a video, the quality of the sound might not be very good. So it might be harder. How do Americans like to spend their weekends? Every way. There is no Americans, you know? Some people go play, go watch sports. They go to a football game. Some people stay home and watch movies and relax. Some people have work, Some people do nothing. How do we spend our weekends? The way anybody else spends their weekend. People are people. So that's different everywhere. There are no really American ways to spend a weekend that I would say. I think that's going too far, defining culturalism in a way that's too specific and not necessarily helpful. Okay? Next question. 600 arrows were fired with 300 hitting and 300 missing. Would both sentences here be okay? For those original sentences, let me think. Well, no. In that case, the first one would be correct, but the second one would not necessarily be correct, right? So the first, you said 600 arrows were fired, 300 hitting and 300 missing. So the first two sentences that you said were, many arrows didn't hit the target. That would be true for the first thing, right? So 300 did not hit, so that many arrows did not hit. But you said the second sentence, the target wasn't hit by many arrows. But that would not be true, because it was hit by 300 arrows. 300 is many, right? If it was not hit, if you shot 600 arrows and, 598 of them missed, then that second sentence would be true. The target wasn't hit by many arrows. Okay? Yes, countable and uncountable way. Sushi, you're not really serious about that question, are you? That's not a question I'm going to answer. Do native speakers all know the differences between alligators, crocodiles, tortoises, deer, moose, elk, hedgehogs, porcupine, or only biologists? I would say most Americans know the differences between those things. Yeah. If you've gone to a zoo, if you've, I think everyone that I know would know those things. I can't think of anybody who's an American who wouldn't know alligators, crocodiles, turtles, tortoises, deer, moose, elk. Maybe there might be a few Americans who don't know the difference between moose and elk, but that's only because moose and elk only live in the northern west part of America, mostly. I don't think they have. Well, no, they might have them up in Maine, too. So in the northern parts of America, that's where we have moose and elk. So if you don't live in the northern parts of America, then you might kind of, maybe you see an elk and you say, oh, it's a moose. Because you're not familiar with them that much. But I would say even most of those people still, I know the difference between a moose and an elk, and I don't live up there in that area. Okay, in the question, have you ever been to Colombia, we use to instead of in, but been is a to be verb. Why does it take the sense of go? Because it's not go, it's more like arrived. Have you ever been in, right? So it's more like asking the country of Colombia, have you ever been in it? Right? Not to it, right? So, of course, if you have gone to it, then you are in it, right? But, because it's asking about traveling, right? You're going to a place, right? We're talking about traveling. That's when you're talking about where have you been to in the past. Okay, to be is where you are, right? I am in America. That's a to be verb. You are in Colombia. That's a to be verb. Have you ever been to Colombia? That's a to be verb. Okay? Next. You don't know why there are so many meanings for the words for expressions. Why not use one word for convenience? Luke, because language is not about convenience. Language is about expression. And when you express things, blue is a color, but there are a million kinds of blue. Red is a color, but there are a million kinds of red. So I could say, look at the red boat. But I could say, look at the Ferrari red boat. That's a very specific color of red. Okay? I can say I'm angry, or I can say I'm furious. Furious is a stronger form of anger. So there are many ways to say it because language is an art. It's like music. Everybody wants to play whatever songs they like. Right? So I use the language that I have to make the language that I use. That's my music. That's the words that I know. That's how I make my language. That's the songs, that's the music that I can make. If you learn different words, or you're familiar with different words, or you like different words, those are your songs. Those are your musics, right? That's the way you make music with language. It's an art, man. It's not about efficiency. Language is not about efficiency. It's an art. That's what you need to remember. You guys are learning an art. Do you know that? Language is an art. You write books with language. You write poetry with language. Right? That's an art. How can you enjoy life and not let grumpy people that are around you affect your mood? RK, that's a hard one. Grumpy people will affect your mood sometimes, and sometimes you just have to kind of pretend like you have a bubble, a bubble of happiness, and you need to remember that the grumpiness that people carry is heavy. It's already heavy for them. People who are grumpy are not having a good time. People who are grumpy are not enjoying life. They're grumpy. So that's hard already. So try to just remember that, hey, they're not enjoying life. So let it be, and there might be good reasons why they're not enjoying life. Okay? But your mood is your responsibility, and that's hard sometimes. That's very hard sometimes. Okay? How old am I? I'm older than the flowers and younger than the mountains. Hello, Carolina. Hello, Laura. I'm fine. How are you? What's the meaning of vanity in vanity plate? A vanity plate is a license plate that's a custom license plate. So you choose whatever words you want to have on your car on the license plate, right? So you can pay money for that. But we call it a vanity plate because who spends money on something so stupid? Who spends money on, look at my license plate and read my license plate because I'm special? That's vanity. When you want people to look at you because you want them to think you are special, that's vanity. That's why we call that a vanity plate. Because it's like, man, really? Did you really need to spend money on a plate on your car that said, fast guy? Whatever. Yeah. What's the emblem of my hat? My hat. It's Sun Valley Ski Resort. It's a ski resort in Idaho that I performed at last year. I performed some music. I would never go there because it's too rich for me, but I performed there. You think we should speak about the climate matter? Razul, I think that we can all have opinions about the climate matter, but the truth of the matter is, if you are not a climate scientist, then your opinion doesn't really matter. Because almost everybody in the world who thinks they know about climate science and climate change really doesn't know anything. They learn stuff off of YouTube and they think that makes them an expert now, but they haven't read any books. They didn't study the actual science. They are not scientists. So Marcus Aurelius said, the opinion of 10,000 men means nothing if they know nothing of the subject. So there could be 10,000 people here who have an opinion about climate change. But none of those opinions really mean anything Because you are not a scientist. You don't know what you're talking about. So, and discussing something like that among people who don't really know is not always helpful. It's definitely not helpful if you don't have at least one expert in the room. And I'm not a climate expert. I'm not a climatologist. If I had a climatologist here, then maybe I would say, let's talk about the climate matter. That's the difference between me and some other people, is I don't want to talk about things if I don't feel I have some knowledge or basis for answering. Anybody can have an opinion. That doesn't mean anything. I have lots of opinions, but I won't tell you all of them, and I certainly won't tell you that they are the truth. Like, that's my opinion is the only one that's true. No. I can tell you about the things that I do know about. Those are the things I feel I can answer questions about. But climate change and climate science, I know a lot. I have read a lot. But I still know. I probably know more about it than you do. I probably have read more about it than you do. Or you have. But I still think that even what I know is not enough to really have a good opinion. So if I don't know enough about it, then you probably don't know enough about it. I'm sorry to say it that way. But that's how I'll put it. Next. Thank you, Lou. Yes, hello, Lynn. You see me as your role model. All right, well, be a role model to yourself, you know? Looking up to other people is not a bad thing, but you need to remember that nobody is perfect. Everybody has flaws. Me too. Yeah. Hello, Norman. What is the meaning of alliteration? It's a literary word, right? And when you are writing, maybe you want to use alliteration, right, to make a point. It's a funny thing. I love to use alliteration. It's when you use the same sound again and again to make a point, right? Or to make it more effective, right? So if I say, here's a good one. You pusillanimous puss bag. Pusillanimous is a great word. It's basically means coming from pus, essentially. But the two P's in that's what makes that alliteration. Pusillanimous basically means cowardly. Okay? So I'm saying it's like a bad word. I'm trying to call somebody a bad name in a nice way, in a formal way, using formal language. Okay, so alliteration is when you use the same sound again and again in order to make a point. Let me give you some good examples besides that one. She sells seashells down by the seashore. That's alliteration too. Tongue twisters are almost always alliteration. If I say a big black bear, BBB, right? 5 frantic frogs, FFF, right? The sudden stench of the soggy swamp assailed our noses. That's a lot of S's. That's alliteration, okay? Coca-Cola, that's alliteration also, okay? Sometimes we spend money on stupid things. Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, we all do. Yeah, I heard this crazy idea, but don't listen to him. He knows he has the power of a platform. So he can say anything, even if it's a crazy idea. He could say, we're going to bring back the dinosaurs. And you would listen because he's powerful. So you think that because he's powerful, he has the power to do anything. He does not. He does not have the power to do anything. His biggest power is that he made you believe that he has all this power. He doesn't really. Next. Do I go out in the winter to have vitamin D? Sure, but I take vitamin D. I try to take some vitamins sometimes. I try to eat well to make sure I have my vitamins. Let's see. Danger, hazard, and jeopardy. Are they synonyms interchangeably, or the context and usage is not related? They are related, but they all have specific little cases where you would say them. So sometimes you could use them interchangeably, like, don't put yourself in danger, don't put yourself in jeopardy. In this case, danger and jeopardy would be pretty much the same. But hazard can be a verb or a noun, and when it's a noun, it means something dangerous. This is hazardous, it's a hazard, right? To hazard someone is to warn them of danger. Jeopardy comes from, I remember there's a funny repartee. It means to bet or risk. Jeopardy, it means a lost game. Yeah. So the word jeopardy actually means to lose a game. That's the original meaning. But it means to risk something, like you're betting money so you lost the game. You risked something so that you put it in jeopardy. Okay? Can you spell the email if you forget the standard words like C as in cat? Firuza, I'm not sure. I don't know if... I don't think I understand your question. Can you try to ask me another way, Firuza? It's okay. Try again, Firuza. You're having trouble writing emails? Is that let me guess. Let me try to guess. You're saying you're trying to write emails, but your spelling is really bad. Is that right? Yeah, Quillbot, or just really, if you're using an English keyboard, it should have predictive text. Predictive text means if you start writing a word, it should give you a choice that you can choose, right? So for example, let's see. Let's see. So if I type in the letters B-E, then on my keyboard, what comes up down here? Oh, I have because here in the middle and Ben here on this side. It suggests the words for you. This is another good way to learn proper spelling and vocabulary sometimes. So when you write, pay attention to the words that it's suggesting. So you can see, there it is. There's the word I need, and just click that word. Okay? The more you see it, the more familiar you will be. Okay? One and a half years has passed. A year and a half also has passed. Yes, I would say has for both of those. 1.5 years has passed. A year and a half has passed. You were wondering if the snow and cold weather made me give up iced coffee. Nope. I still like iced coffee, even when it's cold. Who knows? Maybe this winter I will try something different. I'll start drinking some hot coffee. Hello, MJ. Okay, so again, we are here to talk about concepts. I want you to impress me with your questions. And if you don't know what I mean by that, then let me show you what I mean by that. Impress me with your questions. Why asking the right questions matters. One of the easiest ways I can tell how serious someone is about learning is by the kinds of questions they ask. Every day I get messages like, how can I be good in English? And how can I improve my pronunciation? And how can I improve my writing? These are not bad questions, but they are vague questions. And vague questions usually reveal vague intentions. So lots of people say, I want to learn English. But, you know, it's very easy to say you want to do something. Anyone can say it. That's easy. But if you really want to do it, then you will ask better questions. When you don't really want to learn something, you ask big questions. How can I be good in English? That tells me you don't really want to learn English. You want the skill, but you don't want to do the work. You want the talent, but you don't want to do the work. That's what it tells me. A question like, how can I improve my English, could fill an entire bookshelf. It is too broad to be useful because it shows that you have not yet thought about what part of English you actually want or need to improve. So if you ask me questions like this, it tells me that you don't really know what you need to work on, you haven't thought about it, and you don't really care. All right? Let me give you an example. Check this out. Imagine your car starts making a strange noise while you are driving. Now, there are two kinds of people in this world. The first kind gets curious and they start listening closely. Where is that sound coming from? Is it coming from the front or the back or the engine or the radiator? They might take a photo or a video, or Google the problem, or ask a friend who knows about cars. Maybe they even check on YouTube for some similar sounds or similar problems. By the time they go to the mechanic, they can ask a smart question like, does the transmission in this model often make that kind of noise? That is a good question. It is specific. It shows effort. That invites a meaningful answer. But then there's the second kind of person, the one who just says, my car is broken. What's wrong with it? the mechanic will look at them and think, this person doesn't know anything about cars and doesn't really care to learn. So they're not going to want to explain anything to you because the question you asked shows them that you don't really care. Okay? So a vague question tells the expert that you have not invested any curiosity of your own. It tells them that you are expecting them to do all the thinking for you. A lazy question invites a lazy answer. Okay? A lazy question invites a lazy answer. So it's the same in learning English. When you ask me, how can I improve my English? It tells me that you have not really thought deeply about what you struggle with. But when you ask questions like, how can I use my commas more naturally when I write? Or how can you explain the difference between past simple, or can you explain the difference between past simple and past perfect, right? Or is it better to speak and make mistakes or wait until I can speak perfectly? Now these questions tell me something. This tells me that you've been working. You've noticed your problems. You have tried to understand them, and you have done your homework. It shows me that you are not just interested in English, you are serious about improving. So here's the rule that my teacher taught me. My teacher once told me, any question that requires a book to answer is not a good question. A good question is focused. It shows that you have already done some thinking and investigating before you ask. Teachers love students who come with good questions because it means that you are not waiting to be taught passively. You are actively learning, discovering, and taking responsibility for your growth. Asking questions, good questions, is taking responsibility for your learning. Okay? So if you really want to impress your teacher or your coach or your mentor, do not just say, how can I be better? Show that you have already started the journey and that you're ready to go deeper. So next time you come to my live stream or my class or my private lessons, impress me with your questions. That is what I mean when I say, impress me with your questions. Okay? All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Will I feel cold in the winter after drinking iced coffee? No. I feel that apart from laughing, crying, breathing, exhaling, and sneezing, people around the world are more or less the same. Leo, I like that. That's kind of funny. I like that, Leo. Yeah. That's pretty much true, Leo. Yeah. You're roughly... That's pretty true. Yeah. Can I please explain the difference between stop to do something or stop doing something? Ah, okay, Romana. Stop doing something means stop. Okay, so if I say stop doing that, stop hitting your brother, that means stop doing that. Stop doing something. Okay? If I say to stop to do something, that's different. That's like I'm driving down the highway and I see a restaurant that looks nice, or I see a shop that I want to go to. I'm going to stop to do something, right? So stop doing something, like I'm hitting my microphone. I stopped doing that. I stopped doing that thing. Okay? So that's stopping doing something. Okay? Maybe you can say, did Teacher Mark stop teaching? Yes, he stopped doing that. Okay? Whatever. Okay? Understand? But to stop to do something means you stopped your car, or you're walking and you waited to go do something there. Okay? NATO spelling for email example, A is an alpha. If I forget to use A as an apple. Huh? What? I'm still very confused, Firuza. How can you forget A for apple? I don't understand what is the problem. I'm sorry, Firuza. I still don't understand what you're trying to ask about spelling and emails. What does email have to do with it? Are you trying to write emails, Firuza? Because maybe you're not using the word correctly. How can you forget the letter A in NATO? N-A-A-A-to. It's an A. It's right there in the word. I don't understand how you can forget to use A. I'm very confused. Do I think fairness is just a human invention, and is it possible to be completely fair? Fairness is a construct of human society. So fairness changes depending on what society you are in. Every society looks at fairness differently. And can you be completely fair? I think that's almost a philosophical question, because there will always be somebody who probably thinks it's not fair. But fairness sometimes is not about fact, it's about feeling. So if you make a rich person pay taxes, that might be fair. But they might not think it's fair because they feel it's not fair. So factually, it might be fair, but they might not feel it's fair, right? So fairness can live in two places. It lives in fact and it lives in feeling. Okay? So when you talk about fairness, you have to talk about both. And then you also have to consider fairness changes depending on where you go. Unfortunately, that's kind of true. There should be a general sense of fairness, and I think that we all do have a vague sense of fairness. But to reach the concept of fairness requires anybody who's involved to discuss it thoroughly, to make their feelings known so that you can figure out if it's fair or not, right? You have to find out what the facts and the feelings are in order to make fairness. Facts, feelings, and fairness. There's your alliteration. I'm paying for it. Why should I care where the sound comes from? And if they do have for half the price, I can take the time check. Right. So it was an example. You know what I'm trying to say, lucky girl. Yeah. In which situation can I use the expression circle back? Circle back is what we often use when we're talking about maybe it's an important idea and you want to talk about it again later. So you'll say, let me think of a good example. Right now we're talking about verbs, but we're going to circle back to that later so that we can talk about prepositions now. Okay? So I'm saying we were talking about verbs, but we're going to take a break from that and talk about prepositions, and we'll circle back, means go back to the verbs later. Okay? Or the literal meaning. So there's two meanings for circle back. One can mean to talk about something again later, and another one is the real meaning of to really go back again, right? So maybe you're hiking through the woods and you see an apple tree, and you really want to eat some of those apples. So you say, we'll circle back later. Means we're going to keep going forward now, but we'll come back to the tree later. That's to circle back. Okay? All right, next question. Nowadays, a lot of people are trying to lose weight. I'm just wondering, when we lose weight, where does it actually go? Fatness becomes stupidity. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea where the fatness goes. That's a funny question. Who's my favorite celebrity? I don't really have any. Let me think. Let's put it this way. The people who I think are celebrities are probably not who you think are celebrities. I don't really follow I don't follow Taylor Swift or, Lady Gaga or Ariana Grande or whoever. I don't follow celebrity stuff, right? So being a famous person does not impress me. I have met plenty of famous people. I know more than a few famous people. But that doesn't impress me. I don't care if you're famous. I care if you're good. I care if you're cool. And cool means good. Cool does not mean you have expensive clothes and you wear sunglasses and you smoke cigarettes and you act like a beephole. That's not being cool. Cool means being a good person. That's to be cool. He's a cool guy means he's a nice guy. He's a good person. That's what impresses me, not celebrity. I don't give a crap how much money you have, and I don't give a crap how many people think you're awesome. I can only think you're awesome if you are awesome. And awesomeness is not just like popularity. You have to have some quality that makes you awesome. Okay? Let's see. Valeri wants me to pronounce what? Let's see. How about Tesla or Einstein? What about them? If you're talking about those guys, yeah, those are the kinds of celebrities that I like, right? Those are the types of people I admire. Yeah, I've read quite a bit of both Tesla and Einstein's stuff, Bertrand Russell. I love Bertrand Russell. I just made a post about Bertrand Russell recently. He's a historian, philosopher guy. He's great. I'm a Noam Chomsky guy. I'm a Marcus Aurelius guy. I'm not a Kobe Bryant, Travis Kelce kind of a guy. I don't give a crap about whoever's famous on TV. You have to have some kind of a skill that I actually appreciate. And most celebrities actually don't. Like, look at the Kardashians. What is their skill? What is their talent? I don't know. But I'm not impressed. Yeah. Anyway. Old school music, sure, yeah. How to be rich without doing anything in a single night. That's easy. You can be rich right now. All you have to do is not care about money. People who don't care about money, whatever they have, makes them feel like they're rich. It's when you care about money that whatever you have is not enough, so you want more. So if you want to be rich, you can do it two ways. You can do it by getting more, or you can do it by appreciating what you have. Did I change the time for the live stream? Not exactly, Norman. No, I started today at about, what time did I start today? I guess I've been here for about an hour. Yeah, I've been here for an hour. It's 11 o'clock now. I started at 10. It was a little bit later, maybe. A little bit later today. Do I know Professor Nil? No. Leo says, I learn 10 new words every day and I do a lot of practice on English listening. Is this method correct? Leo, hi, how no. If I told you, Leo, I want to learn Chinese and I'm going to learn 10 words a day and just listen to some Chinese, would you think that's enough to learn Chinese? It's not enough. Yeah. So, you need more than that. You need a method. You need a method, okay? Ooh, you just reminded me. Wait a minute, I need to make a note. I forgot. There's an article I need to finish. Man, I totally forgot about that article. There is an article that I have not finished yet, but I'm almost finished. I will try to finish it in the next day or two about how to make a plan for learning. Okay, I have an article that I'm writing about how to make a plan for studying English. Okay? I'll try to finish it and publish it soon. Okay? Can I explain the difference between the meanings of finish out, finish off, finish up in an easy way to remember? Finish up is the most common one. That's what your dad will say, your mom will say when you're eating dinner but you're taking too long. Come on, finish up. We gotta go. Or you're taking too long, finish up. Or maybe my student, maybe they're taking a test, class is almost over. I'll say, hey, we have 5 minutes left, finish up. Means finish what you're doing. Finish up, okay? And you can remember that because when my students were finished with their test, they had to put their hands up so that I knew they're finished. So finish up. Now you can remember finish up means like, oh, I'm done now, okay? Finish off is like there's something left. Like maybe you're eating some food and you have some potatoes that you didn't eat. And somebody says, do you mind if I finish off those potatoes? Or are you going to finish off those potatoes? In this case, to finish off means to completely finish, right? To eat the rest of. There's something left and you are going to use it up, right? To finish off the last food, to finish off the last drinks, to finish off the last, I don't know. Maybe I have a lawnmower, I have to cut my grass, and it has gasoline, and I have to pour the gas in there. Oh, but it's almost gone, so I'm going to finish it off. That means to pour the rest of it in there, right? To finish out. Let me think, where do I have finish out? So, like, it just means to complete a task. So, for example, I'm finishing out the school year. He didn't finish out the school year. Means he did not complete his studies, right? So it's not, he didn't complete the entire school year. They finished out the season undefeated. That means that they completed their entire sports season and they won every game. They were undefeated. Let's see. After finishing out his term, The mayor retired. So to finish out means to complete something, like the term of something, right? To finish out your term. Finish off means you have something left. Imagine like maybe you're eating some food on your plate and you have something left and somebody asks, can I have those? Are you going to finish off those? Can I finish off those? And finish up is like, hey, you only have 5 minutes left of your test. Finish up, okay? Why do American people want to learn Chinese? Most American people are not learning Chinese. I did. There are some people who do, but people learn every language. Why not? Why not? That's a better question. Why not learn Chinese? Why not learn whatever? The difference between a fluent speaker and an advanced speaker? Advanced speakers should be fluent speakers. There should be no difference. If you want to know about fluency, then you have to read another article of mine. Whoops. Here is my article about fluency. Okay? If you want to know about fluency, go read my blog article. Okay? If you learn words, vocabulary from real life videos, is that method correct? Again, if you want to know about how to learn vocabulary, I have an article for that. Where is it? Whoops. Maybe is it the next one? One moment. Here it is. No, that's the value of learning to teach. What happened to my article about vocabulary? One moment. I can't find it. I don't know why, but there's an article I have about vocabulary. Oh, here it is, right here. Okay. The importance of having a vocabulary learning system. Okay? Go read that article. Who's an ultimate role model if I had to choose? The ultimate role model would be yourself. But it's the imagined version of yourself. That's the best version. You can think of yourself in two ways. You can think of yourself as what's the best version of myself and what's the worst version of myself. So, the truly best role model for yourself is what you imagine yourself, the best version of yourself is. That's the best role model, is how can I improve myself? How can I be better? You should always look for other people who have good qualities that you can admire and learn from. But to be yourself, you have to develop you. That's you. You can learn from other people, but you still have to be you. Right? I know it's a weird answer, but that's my answer. Please put the lessons on Spotify. Yeah, Yassine, some of my lessons are on Spotify. If you go to Spotify and search for AFIEC, search for those letters, you should find my blog on Spotify. And there's also YouTube as well. That's right. Thank you, Norman. Here's my YouTube. Okay? So, look, I mean, there are many people through my life who I have admired and respected, teachers, my father, my parents, right? So, but when I try to imagine who should I be, I don't imagine trying to be one of those people, right? My father's a great guy, but I'm not going to be him. I can't be him. I can learn from him to be the best version of myself. All right? What's the difference between stressed and stressing? Stressed is past tense. Stressing is present tense, or past perfect. Present perfect, sorry. I am stressing about this means right now. I am stressing. It's happening. I am stressed is the same thing, but it means I have a feeling of stress, which is a past tense. So there are many feelings that you can express in two ways. You can say with an ed or with an ing, and it will express basically the same thing. Okay? How can you speak without thinking? You can't. But you can speak without translating. And again, I have an article for that. Here is my article about how to think in English. This is the complete guide to thinking in English. If you want to know how to think in English, go read. Okay? I just finished that article a couple of days ago. I still think there are a couple of mistakes I need to correct on there, but the article is mostly fine, so just read it. Okay? That's my best answer about how to think in English. All right, so we have some good questions here today. Hello, Miguel. Hello, Stid Palacios. Hello, I'm good. How are you? Hello, Zoe. Good to see you again. How's the weather? Yeah, it's snowing this morning, Miguel. Yep, it's we got our first snow last night. It's snowing right now. If you go to my blog and you read the articles, maybe it might be a little difficult for some of you. Some of you, maybe your English is not that good yet, so it will be hard for you to read them. But you can copy the article and paste it into ChatGPT and then ask ChatGPT to help you understand it. You can even do that in your native language. I don't know if you know that or not, but ChatGPT can explain it to you in Chinese or Persian, whatever. Okay? So if you don't understand it, ask ChatGPT to help you understand it. Okay? I love to teach, but I loathe lazy students. I love to teach, but I loathe, L-O-A-T-H-E, loathe means hate, means strongly dislike. I strongly dislike lazy students. Yes, loathe, to loathe. It's strong dislike. It's almost like hate. It's a very strong word. Yeah, I want serious learners. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lucky girl, if you're going to put it that way, yeah. At the very least, if I'm going to be here and I'm not being paid, the least you can do is try. The least you can do is not be lazy. If I have to put myself here and if I'm spending my time here, the least you can do is try. Right? How can I improve my speaking and listening skills? Well, you can start with this. Go read that. I'm sorry, everybody, but if I write an article, if you ask me a question, if I have written an article about that question, I'm going to tell you to go read it. I spent my time writing an answer. Go read it. Right? You know? I know you want me to just explain it to you, but that's part of the problem. Take responsibility for your learning. Nobody is going to do it for you. You want somebody to do the thinking for you. That ain't happening here. Okay? I do not do that. Okay? Norman, thank you. I appreciate that, man. It's really nice to have people who come all the time, because it does make me feel like I must be doing something right. You know? If there are some people who come regularly, I must be doing something right. Maybe. What motivates me to do volunteer work? I don't consider it volunteer work. Imagine a world where people do the things they are good at and enjoy. Imagine a world where that's what we do. I enjoy teaching. That's why I do it. I like it. I'm good at it. Imagine a world where everybody was like that. If everyone liked their job, then they wouldn't be jobs. One day we will look back and say that the word job was very similar to the word slave. One day we will say that if you did work that you did not like, if you spent your whole life doing some skill that you actually did not enjoy at all, you didn't like it, you did it, you're good at it even, but you didn't enjoy any of it, that thing stole time from you. It stole time from your life. And yeah, they paid you some money for that time. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Is the money they pay you for your time, the time of your life, is that money worth it? That's my question. You know? I reminded you of Walter White when I said I was good at it. Well, yeah. You know, Walter said that with the confidence of a man who knows. You know, when you say something like that, it's not out of arrogance. It's out of experience. It's out of talent. You know? He knew he was good. There was no denying it. It's undeniable. He was good because why? Because he loved science. That's why he was good at any job he would do that involved science. He was a teacher. He was a great teacher. Why? Because he loved science. He became a drug maker. Why was he a good drug maker? Because he loved science. Passion was the most important part, right? When I play drums, I'm passionate. When I teach, I'm passionate. I'm passionate when I do the things I love. One day, work will be a dirty word. Okay, any other comments, any other questions, any other topics of life or concepts that you want to bring to my attention or pick my brain over? I am not special. I am no genius. I am just a drummer. But you can ask a drummer some questions and see if you like the answers. Hello, Samar from Egypt. You really want to learn English. Can you help each other? So Samar is new. Hello, Samar. I am not new, Samar. I have been on Hello Talk for more than 12 years. And I have about 84,000 followers. 84,000 people follow me to learn English. So I cannot be a partner for you, but you can follow me just like they follow me. Okay? Hello, Giuseppe. How are you, my friend? Always good to see you. You want to work in America as an English instructor at a university. What do I think? Well, first I would ask why. And second, I would say it's possible, but not likely. Just like if I wanted to work in a university in Turkey as a Turkish instructor, is it possible for me to learn Turkish well enough to teach in Turkey? Yeah, it's possible. Is it likely? Not really. Why would they hire an American to teach Turkish? Right? So, why would they hire a Turkish person to teach English? You would have to show that you have some specific angle, right? Universities, they like professors that have a specific, different way of doing things. They have a different idea, especially in research. A lot of universities, you cannot just be a teacher. You also have to do research. You have to write. You have to write papers about things, right? So, you're already working at a university, right? And I'm not saying you can't work at a university. I'm just saying it would be difficult. Okay? In America, just like every other country, if I want to work in Turkey, I have to show that I have some special skill. Why would they want to hire me unless I have a special skill? Maybe there's already somebody there who can do that, right? So that's the key. If you want to work in another country, usually you have to show that you have some kind of a special skill, special ability, special talent, or special knowledge. Okay? I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying it will be difficult. Okay? Yeah, and to work in an American university, you will need at least a master's degree and maybe a doctorate. So if you only have an undergraduate degree, probably they will not hire you. You will need at least a master's degree or a doctorate or a PhD. Right? Yeah. Okay? Primary or secondary school would be a lot easier. Yes. Yeah, if you wanted to work at a primary school or a secondary school, an elementary school or maybe even a high school, those would be fine. I think you might be able to work in those. But working at a university, that's harder. That's a bit more. And there's a big demand for teachers in elementary school and high school here. But there's not a huge demand for professors, I don't think. Okay? All right, well, Gulsum, then you sound like you could, okay, but here is one small tip I will give you, Gulsum. If you have a master's degree in English, then why are you writing like that? Why did you not capitalize? Why did you not use commas? Why did you not use periods? I know it's just a chat, but nothing is ever just anything if that is your specialty. So for example, I'm a drummer. Okay, I play the drums. But Gulsum, if I go anywhere, when I play the drums, I play like a professional. I never play like an amateur. Ever. Because why? That is what I do. So if you say that you have a master's degree in English, then you should never, ever write like that. Ever. Okay? All right? If you wrote like that and anybody from an American university saw you write like that, they will not hire you. They will say, no way. We cannot hire a professor who doesn't, All right? So don't let yourself be seen using English below the level that you can. If you are capable of using English here, then you should always use it here. Never drop it down. Okay? Can I play right now? I could, but I don't really feel like it. And actually no, I can't because I don't have my microphone. My mixer is not hooked up. My mixer is not hooked up right now. Sorry. And besides, nobody wants to hear me play the drums. People are here to ask questions. Nobody cares about that. Hello, Zaki. Okay, I thought I saw somebody raise their hand, but I guess not. You care? Well, you can look at my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, there are many videos of me playing drums. Okay? Go to my YouTube channel. There you go. Most of the videos on my YouTube channel are me teaching English. But if you scroll way down, keep scrolling, There are hundreds of videos of me teaching English like this. But if you scroll way down, you'll find lots of videos of me playing music. You come here every day hoping I'll play, but I never do. All right. I will schedule a performance day. Okay? I will schedule a performance day and I will tell everybody about it ahead of time. Okay? So, let me think here. Today is the 10th. So how about this weekend? This coming weekend on Saturday. Okay? This coming weekend on Saturday, I'll do a performance day. All right? How's that? But if you think I'm a decent teacher, I have been playing drums a lot longer than I have been teaching. I'm a pretty good drummer. I'm not a great drummer, but I'm a pretty good drummer. But I do love it. You know, I love it. I love the drums. Who is my favorite drummer? Leon. My favorite drummer is probably Steve Gadd. Probably. Although just recently, my favorite jazz drummer just died last week. No, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Jack DeJohnette was my favorite jazz drummer, and he just passed away. I have many favorite drummers, you know. Jeff Porcaro, Steve Gadd, John Bonham, Alex Van Halen, Jack DeJohnette, let's see, David Garibaldi, Clyde Stubblefield, Dennis Chambers, Vinnie Colaiuta. I've got lots of favorites. Do I have a preference between being a drummer or being a teacher? Ooh, that's hard. No. No, I like them both. I like to do things that I feel I can do. You know, that's how humans are, right? So teaching is something that I feel I can do, and drumming is something I feel that I can do. So I love them both. Differently, though. Drumming is a creative and historic art for me. So I treat it like a creative art that allows me to express myself. But I also treat it like a historic art that I try to understand the complete knowledge and history of how it began and where it is now and everything in between. So I've studied the history of music and the history of drumming and world drumming and cultures and all of that. Give me your questions. I shall try to answer them. You know, I will tell you guys one thing, you know. Technology is a wonderful thing. But technology has made more people more lazy than ever before. So, unfortunately, I think that there are some people who will never be smart. Because if you cannot sit down for more than 5 minutes to focus, then you will never be smart. TikTok. If you watch TikTok and that's where you learn, you will never be smart. So, yeah. You know? Ooh, Gregory, that's an interesting question. If I had to choose a movie that I would watch over and over again for the rest of my life, which movie would I choose? Wow. Okay. Man, that's a hard one. You know, it really depends on what your purpose in watching is, you know? So, sometimes when you watch a movie, you want to watch because you want to think. Sometimes when you watch a movie, you want to watch because you want to be inspired. Sometimes you watch a movie because you want to be upset. So, if I had to choose a movie to watch over and over again, I would probably choose a movie that's not deep, that's not heavy, that's just playful and something relaxing that I can not think. Because if you're going to watch it over and over and over again, you don't need something that you need to think about a lot, right? I mean, like, let's put it this way. If you watch Schindler's List 1,000 times, I don't really think you're going to get much more meaning from it than you did the first time. I don't really think so. I mean, it's a heavy movie. It's deep. It's dark. But I don't think you're going to gain some new experience or knowledge from watching it thousands of times. So, some movies, maybe you watch them a few times and you learn more from them each time. Learning, studying, growing. But many movies, to me, they're just a form of escapism. They're a form of relaxation. Let me think of how to say it. Relaxative escapism. So it's just it's a way for me to turn my mind off for a while. Okay, so if I were going to watch a movie over and over and over again, I would probably choose a goofy movie from my childhood that I really loved. You know, something funny that I just, you know, there is a movie that I can think of that I do love, and I've seen it a million times, and it's a silly movie, and it's not even like that famous, but it's one of my favorites just because I love the simple humor of it, the simple story of it. But it's not a deep movie at all. It's a movie called Fletch, if you're interested. I am not married, so I can't answer that question. Saturday night is your birthday. Oh, okay. And, well, happy birthday, Hajar. Then you can come listen to some music. Samnang, I'm fine. How are you? You want to ask if I am over 30 and you have a stable job, will you give up that job to go abroad for studying something new, even if you aren't good in studying? Ooh, that's hard, Libra. That's a deep question. That's a hard question. That's a personal question. I cannot give you an answer. I can maybe give you some suggestions. All right? Sometimes a stable job is better. Sometimes. But sometimes if you don't take a risk, you won't go further. So maybe it could be better to go abroad and study if it matters to you. Right? But I cannot make that choice for you. That's a decision you will have to make for yourself. All right, I have been here for 1 hour and 36 minutes. Man, does this guy like to hear his own voice, right? Oh, excuse me. See, that's why I need coffee. I have time for a couple more questions. If you don't know who I am, follow me. Here's my YouTube. Here's my website. Here is my blog. 84,000 people follow me. I think they follow me because I'm helpful. I think. I try to be helpful. I can be a real pain in the ass, really. Sometimes I'm mean, sometimes I'm rude, sometimes I yell at people. Sometimes I'm grumpy. But I try to be helpful, even if I'm grumpy. Thank you, Patricio. Thank you, Leo. You got your result. Was there, you got less, you got your result from what, Zaki? What result? You got a test result? Or what? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, my eye is itchy. I know, let's have some fun. I have 5 minutes left, so we're going to have some fun. We're going to do English a new way. One moment.
All right. Who has the next question? Monster English with Teacher Mark. Or
Mickey Mouse is going to teach you English. How can I help you? Ho 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 ho! I can go all the way up to this voice.
Or I can be this voice.
That's fun, isn't it? Let's see. Test numbers are necessary, not Language Academy. Zaki. Test numbers sometimes are necessary. It depends on the test. Zaki. If you didn't pass yet, it just means you didn't pass yet. Yet is a wonderful word. Okay? You've noticed that many teachers get upset when students use AI, but I encourage you to use it. Can I explain why? I encourage you to use it properly. And I think that most people are making too much about AI. Everybody's so scared. AI is going to ruin everything. And it is. It's going to ruin a whole lot of things. It's going to ruin a lot of stuff. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have value. It's such a silly thing. It's a new tool. And it's a powerful tool. So any new powerful tool that you just give to society, of course, they're going to use it improperly, incorrectly, and a lot of people are going to screw it up. Right? They're going to use it in wrong ways. They're going to do bad things with it. But was a calculator a bad thing? No. Was a computer a bad thing? No. You know, when they made the first camera, people said, oh, it's going to ruin art. There will be no more art because the camera is going to ruin art. But it didn't. And in 1978, they made the first electric drum machine. And they said that it's going to take away all the jobs from all the drummers, and there won't be any more drummers. Hi, it's 2025. I'm a drummer. I'm still here. So I think that everybody is talking about how the sky is falling, oh no! But if it is falling, there's nothing you can do about it. Literally, nothing you can do about it. So, if it's gonna fall, it's gonna fall. And in the meantime, I use it every day to learn and study and grow. So, why do most teachers tell you you shouldn't use AI? Because most teachers know, and they're right, that most students will use AI incorrectly. They'll use it improperly. They'll cheat. They won't use it to help them know more. They'll use it to help them get the answers so they don't need to know. So, if you're using it to cheat, then yeah, it's bad. If you're using it to learn and grow and explore and be curious, do you know what? Here's why it's such a great thing. Because humans have a lot of curiosity, but we have been taught to ignore our curiosity. Because children are supposed to have questions. Adults are supposed to have answers. So the older you get, the more you feel like you're not supposed to ask questions anymore. But that's stupid and silly. You should continue to ask questions your whole life. And guess what? Now you have something that can answer your questions 24 hours a day, And is it always right? No, but neither am I. Sometimes you ask me a question and maybe I'm wrong. Does that mean you should stop listening to me altogether? You should just go away and say, Teacher Mark is bad because he told me one thing wrong. So it's weird because everybody is judging AI on perfection, but we don't judge anything else on perfection. Are cars perfect? No. Are planes perfect? No. Are computers perfect? No. So why does AI have to be perfect? Right? It's very weird. Okay? So, I encourage you to use AI because I think if you are curious and you have integrity, integrity means you don't want to cheat because you know cheating doesn't help you learn. It helps you get the answer. It doesn't help you learn. Okay? So, I love AI. I use it all the time. It's not perfect, but I don't know anything that is. And it's such a weird thing. We're treating AI like it's supposed to be a god. But it's a disappointing god. Because it answers questions wrong sometimes. Your computer is wrong sometimes. I'm wrong sometimes. Okay? Next question. Tell you about the IELTS or TOEFL. Okay, then I will tell you that you should go here. Go to this link. Go to that link. I know it says thinking, but it's actually, that is my link for IELTS and TOEFL studying. If you go to that link, you'll find a bunch of things to study for the IELTS and the TOEFL. All right? Thank you, happy girl. I look like West Journey. I don't know what that is. Right, lucky girl. Right. Yeah, why wouldn't you use it? Right. Give you some tips on how to get a high score in every test? Cheat. Zaki, I cannot give you... There is no tip on how to get a high score on every test except cheat. There is no other way to get a high score on every test except study or cheat. Study or cheat. Study or cheat. That's it. I don't want you to cheat. I'm just telling you, you're asking the wrong question. You said how to get a high score on every test. That's not the right question. The right question should be, how can I learn things so that I can pass the test? How can I learn it? How can I know it? Not how can I pass the test? Okay? If you're only interested in passing the test, just cheat. Okay? Alright, guys. It has been 1 hour and 49 minutes. I'm going to go. It's time for me to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Ba-doo-ba-doo. It's a good old song. I don't know if you know that one. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. All right. Here is my YouTube. Here is my website. Here is my blog. Follow me or don't follow me. I don't care. I'll be back tomorrow. Okay? I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you then. Or maybe not. Okay. Have a good morning. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon, wherever you are. And I'll see you next time. Bye.